Welcome to HFY Galactic Stories, original science fiction tales, where humans face impossible odds, and the galaxy pays the price for its ignorance. Listen carefully. This is where legends are born. The arrival. Aliens made the contact with humanity and then they realized that humanity is the most powerful force in the entire galaxy. This is a big deal for the aliens. They thought they were the ones out there, but it turns out humanity is the one that is actually in charge. The aliens were surprised to find out that humanity is the force. They did not know that humanity was so powerful. Now the aliens have a view of humanity and they see humanity as the galaxy's supreme force. Asterisk, the aliens were not ready for this discovery. Asterisk, they thought they were the ones who ruled the galaxy. The aliens are still trying to understand how humanity became the force. They want to know what makes humanity so strong. The aliens are looking at humanity in a new way now. Humanity is the galaxy's force and the aliens have to deal with it. The aliens will have to change their ways and start seeing humanity as the force that it is. Explorer Cathis put his hand on the window of the wandering star. The planet there looked really pretty. It was blue and green. It sparkled like a nice stone against the dark space. Explorer Cathis felt happy and excited. He had two hearts. They were beating fast. He liked watching the clouds move around on the planet. They had been looking for a time 16 cycles. Now they found what they were looking for. The wandering star found a world that has a lot of life. It looks like the people who live there are smart and can make things. Explorer Cathis was thrilled to see this planet because the people on the wandering star were searching for a place like this for a long time. The Valkyrie people have been traveling to the parts of the Andromeda spiral arm for a very long time. They think their civilization is the one in the whole universe. The Valkyrie have made maps of then 2,000 star systems and met 47 different kinds of aliens. Every time they meet a species, the same thing happens. The Valkyrie show up with good technology, become friends with the aliens and help them join the Galactic Prosperity Union. The Valkyrie believe it is their job to make the universe a better and more organized place. They really want to help the other species make progress and be happy. The Valkyrie are very serious about their duty to bring order to the cosmos and make everything better for the Galactic Prosperity Union and the Valkyrie. Science Officer Meridax walked up to Cathis with a data tablet in her hands. She had 3 fingers on each hand. Her eyes were silver. They sparkled when she looked at the scan results. Science Officer Meridax was very curious. The signals from the planet Earth were really different. They had never seen anything like this before. There were a lot of satellites around the planet. These satellites were sending out all kinds of messages on different frequencies. The people who lived on the planet Earth called themselves humans. Science Officer Meridax was looking at the data tablet. She saw that the humans were using hundreds of different frequencies to talk to each other. The planet Earth was an interesting place. Cathis looked at the data. It was really interesting to him. The people of Earth had made things like power satellites that go around the Earth, and they had even sent some things into space. To the Valkyrie, the humans were a young species. They had only just started to make new technology, probably only a few hundred years ago. This made the humans perfect for joining the Union. The Valkyrie had helped other species join before, so they knew what would happen next with the humans and the Union. The Valkyrie were very good at this. They had done it times before with other species like the humans. Captain Vorith walked into the observation deck with a walk. He wore purple robes that showed he was an important person in the Valkyrie diplomatic corps. Captain Vorith had met 12 species for the first time and it always went well. The Valkyrie diplomatic corps had a lot of experience with this. Captain Vorith thought the humans would be the same. They would like the technology and they would want the Valkyrie to guide them. The humans would be happy to learn from the Valkyrie because they were more advanced. The wandering star went up into an orbit around Earth. It did not try to hide. The wandering star was easy to see. The human governments found the wandering star in a few hours. The humans sent a lot of radio signals to the ship, the wandering star. These signals had a lot of questions and greetings in them. The humans were very excited to see the wandering star. Vorith was happy with what was happening. The humans were doing what Vorith thought they would do. The humans were curious about the wandering star and the Valkyrie. They were also being careful. The humans were excited to meet the Valkyrie. They were not being reckless. The humans were ready to meet the Valkyrie. Cathis was put in charge of the team that would talk to humans first. He took a lot of time to learn how humans communicate, find out about their ways of life, and get ready for the steps we take when we meet someone new. The way we use math to talk worked well. Humans caught on to the number patterns fast and sent back their own math problems to solve. The humans were definitely smart. But being smart is not the thing that makes a species special. Cathis thought about the humans and their intelligence and how the humans had a lot to learn about being advanced, just like Cathis was learning about the humans. The first meeting where everyone was face to face happened on a space station that people had built. It was going around the moon. Cathis was in charge of a group of 5 diplomats from Valkyrie. He took them through the part of the space station where ships dock. They were all wearing suits to protect themselves, and these suits looked really shiny under the lights that were not natural. The people from Earth who said hello to them were not as tall as Cathis thought they would be. They only had 2 arms. They had weird hair on their heads. When Cathis looked into the eyes of the humans, he saw that they were very smart, and that made him stop for a moment. The woman who was in charge was Director Sarah Chin. She was the ambassador. Director Sarah Chin wore an uniform with symbols on it that probably meant something to her government. When she shook hands, it was strong. She smiled nicely. Her eyes were watching everything. Director Sarah Chin said hello to the delegation when they got to the humans' moon station. She was very nice. Made them feel welcome. Director Sarah Chin seemed a little off to Cathis. She was not shocked or confused that the Valkyrie delegation was there. It was like Director Sarah Chin knew they were coming along. The talks between the humans and the Galactic Prosperity Union started off okay. Vorith told the humans about the Galactic Prosperity Union, saying that it is a group where over 300 different types of aliens live together in peace with the Valkyrie in charge. He said that being part of the Galactic Prosperity Union is a thing because it means you get to use really good technology, you are safe from bad things that can happen in space, and you can trade with other aliens. The humans were nice and listened to what Vorith had to say. They asked questions and they wrote down what they thought was important. The humans did not seem to think it was a big deal. Vorith was talking about the Galactic Prosperity Union and all the good things it does. The humans just did not seem impressed by the Galactic Prosperity Union. Meridax was talking to scientists in a different part of the station. She was showing them the Valkyrie computing systems and the technology they use to make energy. She also showed them the advances that the Valkyrie have made. The humans looked at everything closely, but they did not react the way Meridax thought they would. They did not seem surprised or amazed by the technology. Instead, they seemed to know about it. They asked Meridax why the Valkyrie had made choices when they were designing these things. The humans wanted to know why the Valkyrie had done things away. It was like the humans already understood how the Valkyrie technology worked, and they just wanted to know why the Valkyrie had chosen to do it that way. The Valkyrie technology was interesting to the humans. They already seemed to know a lot about the Valkyrie computing systems and the medical advances. A scientist, Dr. James Patterson, said something that really bothered Meridax. He was looking at a data storage device when he said that humans had tried using similar crystalline storage matrices a long time ago. Then he said they stopped using it and started using quantum entanglement systems instead. Meridax felt really scared. The Valkyrie are not even able to use quantum entanglement storage. Meridax thought that the humans were just trying to make themselves seem advanced than they really are. The humans must be lying about using quantum entanglement storage. Meridax thought about the quantum entanglement storage and the Valkyrie data storage device. Cathis was walking around the station when he saw something that did not seem right for a young species like humans. The systems that made power were a lot better than they should be. The machines that made artificial gravity used ideas that the Valkyrie had only just figured out. The materials they used to build the station were really special. Seemed to be made with very advanced techniques. Cathis started to look closely at everything around him. The more he looked, the more worried he became about the human station. The humans seemed to have technology that was too good. Cathis looked at the station again and he thought about the power systems and the artificial gravity and the special materials. He was getting more and more concerned about what he was seeing at the station. Cathis was talking to Colonel Michael Torres, a military officer, when they were not having formal negotiations. Colonel Michael Torres was a guy and he was happy to answer Cathis' questions about what humans can do in space. He told Cathis that humans have places to live on 12 planets and stars close to them. Cathis was really surprised. He almost spit out his drink. 12 places to live? The Valkyrie people who gather information had said that humans had not gone far from their own planet. They had only gone a bit past their moon. Cathis thought about this for a moment. Colonel Michael Torres said humans have a lot of colonies. The Valkyrie intelligence reports did not say that. Cathis was very surprised by what Colonel Michael Torres told him about space capabilities. Captain Vorith did not think much of Cathis' worries during their meeting that evening. He thought the humans were just talking big to sound important. This is something that younger species often do when they want to seem strong. The Valkyrie have seen this before. Cathis was still not sure. The humans did not seem like they were making things up. They talked about their colonies like it was no deal, like traveling to other stars and setting up new homes was something they did all the time. The humans spoke about their colonies with a tone as if interstellar colonization was just a normal thing to do. Captain Vorith and the Valkyrie should have been paying attention to what the humans were saying about their colonies. The next day was really something. Director Chin asked the delegation to come and watch a presentation about humans and how we got to where we are today with technology. This presentation showed videos of spaceships going from one star system to another using a special kind of engine that messed with space and time around it. The Valkyrie people had ideas about how this could work. They never actually made one that worked. The humans were using this technology all the time to travel fast between stars. The Valkyrie delegation saw that humans were using this method to travel than light all the time. Meridax asked to look at the human science information, and after thinking about it, the humans said they could share some of it with her. What Meridax found out made her wonder about the humans. The humans did not just get lucky. Find advanced technology by trying things. The humans were really good at science. They understood things that should have taken a very long time to figure out. When Meridax looked at the human record, she saw that they did all of this in a very short time, less than 200 years. Meridax was surprised because the humans should not have been able to do much so fast. The human scientific progress was very impressive. It made Meridax think about the humans in a different way. The moment of truth came when we visited the places where people defend themselves. Colonel Torres, who maybe was too nice or maybe wanted to show off, took the group to see one of the defense stations that go around the Earth. The things they used to fight were completely new to the Valkyrie. They had guns that could make very strong beams of energy. They had missiles that could find their targets on their own, which was more advanced than what the Valkyrie had. What really worried the Valkyrie was the special shields that could stop attacks, which they did not understand at all. The Valkyrie saw these shield generators. They were amazed because they could not figure out how they worked. The Valkyrie were very concerned about the defense platforms, and the Valkyrie did not know what to do. Cathis sent an urgent secret message back to the Wandering Star. The Wandering Star needed to do checks of the human systems right away. Something was not right with the story the humans had told them. Captain Vorith said it was okay to do the checks. He still thought the humans were just good at making things look real. The results of the checks came back in a few hours, and they changed everything about the human systems and what the Wandering Star thought about the humans. The results of the checks on the systems were very important. The scans of space showed us something big. The humans were not keeping secrets from us, they just did not think it was important to tell us. We thought there were 12 places where humans lived. That is not true. There are then 300 human places in 78 different star systems. Some of these places are really far away from Earth, hundreds of light years away. The humans even have places on worlds that the Valkyrie do not know about yet. The humans have an area of space that they control. It is organized and it is more advanced than the Valkyrie thought it would be. The human space is really big. It is clear that the humans are very advanced. The humans have a lot of colonies, and the Valkyrie did not know about most of them. Captain Vorith just stood there saying nothing as he looked over the scan data. He did not feel confident anymore. The Valkyrie did not find a species that needed help. They found something that was more powerful than the Valkyrie. This was very scary. It was hard to understand what it meant. The Valkyrie had made contact with something that was really strong. Captain Vorith thought about what this meant for the Valkyrie. It was very frightening. The Valkyrie were not prepared for something like this. Cathis felt a dread in his chest as he looked at the star maps. The maps showed where humans had put up markers to say this territory is ours. These markers were over the galaxy. Some of them were in the areas that the Valkyrie people thought of as their own home. That did not make sense to Cathis. How did humans get far into the galaxy without the Valkyrie people knowing about it? The star maps showing markers in Valkyrie territory were very confusing to Cathis. He could not understand how humans had spread out much without the Valkyrie people noticing. The territorial markers were a big surprise to Cathis. Then something big happened that changed everything they thought they knew. Meridax was looking through old records from the Valkyrie to see if humans had ever been around. That is when Meridax found out about the Silent Dominion. The records were old. Did not say much, but they talked about a huge empire that used to be in charge of this whole part of the galaxy. This empire just disappeared one day, leaving behind old buildings and unanswered questions. The records had one thing that really scared Meridax. The Silent Dominion had been ruled by a species that matched the physical description of humans perfectly. The emergency council meeting on the Wandering Star was really something that Cathis had never seen before in his 30 years of working. Captain Vorith was sitting at the head of the table. He looked really worried, which was not like him at all. The big holographic display in the middle of the room was showing some bad news. There were ruins on about 200 different worlds, and they all looked like they were built by the same people. The Wandering Star Council was looking at these ruins, and they all had the same kind of style as human buildings, which was really strange. The human design was a match. It was like humans had built all these ancient ruins on the 200 worlds. Meridax presented her findings with a trembling voice. She had spent the 72 hours looking at every bit of information in the Valkyrie historical database. What she found was very clear and very scary. Every world that the Valkyrie thought of as their own had actually belonged to someone at some point. The old ruins that the Valkyrie thought were made by old civilizations were not made by different groups of people who do not exist anymore. They were all made by the people. They were all made by humans. The Valkyrie historical database was full of information about the Valkyrie. Meridax had found something that changed everything about the Valkyrie and their history. The Valkyrie had always thought that these worlds were theirs. Now Meridax knew that the Valkyrie were not the first people to live on these worlds. The humans were there first. The Silent Dominion was not any empire. It was really big and powerful. The old records that are still around say that the Silent Dominion was in charge of the galaxy for a long time. Over 15,000 years. A lot of species lived under the Silent Dominion, some were protected and some were controlled. It is hard to say which because the old texts are not clear. Something big happened 12,000 years ago. The records from that time do not agree with each other. Some of them say that something bad happened. Others say that the Silent Dominion just decided to leave. But one thing is for sure, the Silent Dominion was gone. The humans just disappeared and their whole empire fell apart. It all turned to dust. Cathus felt like the ground was gone from under his feet. The Valkyrie civilization was not even very old, it was 8,000 years old. The Valkyrie people always thought they were one of the species in the galaxy. They built their identity on being the smart teachers to younger species. Now the Valkyrie people found out they were just kids playing in the old remains of a civilization that was already big and then disappeared before the Valkyrie ancestors could even write. The Valkyrie civilization was a lot younger than they thought. This was a big shock to Cathus and the Valkyrie people. The Valkyrie people had to rethink who they were because they were not the wise species they thought they were. Science officer Torvak, who specialized in xenoarchaeology, found something that really bothered him. He looked at the technology they found in the ruins. He checked the energy that it used, the materials it was made of, and how it was built. Everything was similar to the technology that humans use on Earth and in the colonies. Science officer Torvak saw something else. The old technology was actually better than what humans are using today. It seemed like humans had chosen to forget about their work. They had given up on the things that made them strong. Science officer Torvak thought this was very strange. The ancient technology was more advanced than the technology that humans are using now. Captain Vorith decided it was time to talk to the humans face to face. There was no use hiding anything anymore. The Valkyrie needed to know what was going on. They needed to figure out what they were really up against. Director Chin said she would meet with the leaders in private, and the fact that she was so calm about it made the Valkyrie even more nervous. The Valkyrie had a lot of questions for Director Chin. They were hoping she would give them some answers. Director Chin seemed like she had been waiting for the Valkyrie to ask her these questions. The Valkyrie were getting more and more anxious about what Director Chin was going to tell them. The meeting was held in a room on the lunar station where everything is secret. Director Chin came in by herself with a small computer thing. She sat down across from the 5 diplomats and gave them a kind smile. It seemed like she really felt bad for them. Before Vorith could even ask his questions, Director Chin started talking. What she said was soft and quiet. It was the truth and everybody knew it. Director Chin told the diplomats that people on Earth remember everything that happens. The story she told was really amazing and sad at the time. A time ago, about 12,000 years ago, the human empire was at its best. The human empire was in charge of, had a lot of influence over more than half of the galaxy. The things they could do with technology were like things people who are not as advanced would think are magical. They could do things like change space and time, make worlds, and even live forever if they wanted to. Having all that power made them realize something terrible. The human empire had become boring. The human empire had stopped getting better, stopped learning things, and stopped really enjoying life. The human empire was not living like they used to. The people in charge of the Valkyrie a time ago made a decision that really surprised the Valkyrie delegation. The Valkyrie decided to give up their empire on purpose. They closed down all their systems, took apart their most powerful machines, and went back to their home planet. The Valkyrie used ways to change their genes and culture so that their kids and grandkids would not remember where they came from. The Valkyrie wanted to start to learn again what it is like to work hard and get better and achieve things. The Valkyrie wanted to feel excited about finding things instead of being bored with having all the power they could want. Director Chin said that the memory wipe did not finish the job. Some families and organizations kept the records hidden away, and they passed these records down to their children and grandchildren. When people started to travel in space, these families and organizations started to share the truth about the past. This has been happening more over the last 100 years. People today are starting to remember where they came from, and this is helping them make discoveries and invent new things very quickly. The memory wipe was supposed to erase the past. It did not work, and now people are learning about their history again, and this is making their technology get better at a very fast pace. Director Chin and these families and organizations are happy to see people learning about their heritage, and they are excited to see what the future will bring for humanity and their spacefaring capabilities. Kathis asked the question that everyone was thinking about. Why did the humans let the Valkyrie think they were the ones in charge? Why did the humans not tell the Valkyrie the truth away? Director Chin gave an answer that was really scary. The humans wanted to watch the Valkyrie. See how they had grown and changed while the humans were gone. The humans wanted to see what kind of societies the Valkyrie had built from the ruins of their empire. The Valkyrie mission to meet the humans for the time was not really a discovery. The humans already knew about the Valkyrie. The humans just wanted to see how the Valkyrie would react when they met them. The humans were like people watching something to see what would happen next. They were curious about the Valkyrie and their world. The Valkyrie were a part of the humans' big experiment to learn more about the universe and the creatures in it. The humans were studying the Valkyrie like they were some kind of animal in a zoo. The Valkyrie did not know they were being watched and studied by the humans. This was a test. The humans were watching the humans the entire time to see what they would do. The humans were really checking out the humans to find out how they would react. The truth hit the delegation really hard. Every time they did something in this part of space, humans were watching them. The Galactic Prosperity Union, which the Valkyrie thought was their success, only existed because humans let it. The Valkyrie had helped 300 other species become civilized. Really, these species were living in a special area that humans controlled. The Valkyrie were not the leaders of the galaxy like they thought they were. The Valkyrie delegation realized that the Galactic Prosperity Union was not really theirs. The humans were in charge. The Valkyrie were just doing what the humans wanted them to do. The Valkyrie had been wrong about their role in the galaxy. These kids were given the idea that they were in charge. They were children who had been given this idea of authority. It was not real. It was what they thought. The children had this illusion of authority. Meridax felt tears coming into her eyes as she thought about what this meant. Her whole way of thinking was based on things that were not true. She looked at Director Chin. Asked him what humans wanted from the Valkyrie now. What was going to happen to the Valkyrie and all the species who had made their homes on the lands that humans had left behind? Would the Valkyrie be pushed out as humans came back to take control of their territories again? Meridax was worried about the Valkyrie and what the future held for them. Director Chin said something that surprised everyone. Humanity did not want to go to being in charge of a big empire. They had learned that having all the power is not a thing. The humanity of today is different from the humanity of a time ago. They like that people are different and can think for themselves. They also like that other species in the universe can share their ideas. What humanity wants is to work with other species. They want a partnership where everyone is equal. They do not want someone to tell them what to do like the Valkyrie have been doing with species. Humanity wants to be friends and work together, not have someone be in charge of them. She said that people on Earth had been talking to lots of life forms in the galaxy. They were doing this in a quiet and respectful way. People on Earth were sharing things they knew and technology with these life forms. They were not asking for anything in return. They just wanted to help these other life forms become stronger and smarter. The Valkyrie did not think some of these life forms were smart enough to talk to. People on Earth were talking to them anyway. People on Earth were also watching the Galactic Prosperity Union. They were getting worried about what the Galactic Prosperity Union was doing. The Galactic Prosperity Union was saying they were helping people. Really, they were just using them for their own benefit. Captain Vorath felt really angry. He was also very confused and shocked. He said that the humans were controlling the galaxy secretly and that they were acting like they were gods playing with a lot of civilizations. Director Chin did not say that Captain Vorath was wrong. She said that the way humans did things was not perfect and maybe they were a little too full of themselves. Director Chin also said that if humans did not do what they did, then they would have just stood by and watched as other species like the Valkyrie made the same mistakes that humans made a long time ago. The Valkyrie would have built empires that would have gotten too big and fallen apart. Captain Vorath and Director Chin were talking about the humans and the Valkyrie. What they did. Director Chin was trying to explain why the humans did what they did. The humans and the Valkyrie were very important to what Captain Vorath and Director Chin were discussing. The conversation moved on to what's going to happen in the future. Director Chin gave the Valkyrie a choice to make. The Valkyrie could keep doing what they are doing now, acting like they are the important civilization while humanity stays behind the scenes. The Valkyrie could face the truth and work together with humanity to create something new and better. The Valkyrie and humanity could build a community in the galaxy where each species does what it is good at and learns from the others without feeling bad or pretending to be something they are not. The Valkyrie would work with humanity. The other species would work together. The Valkyrie and humanity would make a community where everyone helps each other. Kathis started talking before he even knew what he was going to say. He told Director Chin that he wanted to know the truth no matter how bad it sounded. Kathis became a diplomat because he really wanted to help species, not just to make himself or the Valkyrie look good. If working with humanity meant saying that the Valkyrie were not the best, then that was okay. Kathis thought that finding out the truth and really making progress was more important than feeling good about things that were not true. The truth was what Kathis was looking for. He was willing to accept it even if it was hard to hear. He wanted to work with humanity and the Valkyrie to make things better. That meant being honest about where they really stood. The other Valkyrie diplomats slowly started to agree with each other. Vorith was the one to talk, and what he said was very important to him. He said that a part of him wanted to say no to everything they had learned and just stick with what they knew. Vorith did not spend his whole life working with other people to pretend that everything was okay when it was not. If humanity really wanted to work with the Valkyrie and not just tell them what to do, then the Valkyrie would work with humanity and try to understand themselves better. The Valkyrie would have to learn to see themselves in a way, and that would not be easy for the Valkyrie. Vorith and the other Valkyrie diplomats were willing to try because they wanted a partnership with humanity, not just a fake one. Director Chin nodded with respect. She said that this conversation was happening at the time as similar meetings all around the galaxy. The people of Earth were showing themselves to then 50 different species, including all the big powers in this part of the galaxy. The time when humans were being watched without knowing it was coming to an end. Now humans and other species would work together openly. There would be times ahead as everyone got used to this new way of things, but humanity was ready to face these challenges with the other species in the galaxy, with their galactic neighbors, the people of Earth and the other species in the galaxy. The Valkyrie delegation stayed with the humans for weeks. They learned about all the things that the humans had not told them before. The Valkyrie delegation saw some cool things on Earth. They went to places that had technology that was more advanced than anything they had ever thought of. The Valkyrie delegation also visited some colonies. These colonies had been around for a long time, even longer than the Valkyrie civilization. Some of these colonies were hundreds of years. The Valkyrie delegation met the Keepers. The Keepers were groups of humans who had kept track of history when everyone else had forgotten. The Valkyrie delegation learned about the history of the humans from the Keepers. Meridax spent days looking through human records, reading what people wrote a long time ago about the ancient empire. She found out about the things they did and the bad mistakes they made that made humans give up their power. Meridax read about the arguments people had for a very long time before they decided to start their civilization all over again. She felt a little better knowing that even humans who were very smart had a hard time figuring out the same big questions that bothered all smart beings, including Meridax and the humans. The humans and Meridax had something in common, which was trying to answer these questions. The moment that really got to me was when Kathis saw this room on Luna. It was like a memorial. The names of billions of people who were born and died when the empire was big were over the walls. In the middle of the room there was a message that said why they decided to start all over again. It said that having power is not good if you do not know what you want to do with it. It also said that getting things done is not fun if it is too easy. It said that if a group of people have everything, they have nothing to look forward to. Kathis saw this message on Luna. It was very sad. The empire had everything. They still felt empty. The ancient humans decided to forget how great they were. This way their children and grandchildren could see how great they could become. The ancient humans wanted their descendants to experience the beauty of becoming great just like the ancient humans were great. The wandering star was getting ready to leave the system. Kathis went back to the observation window. He looked down at Earth again. Earth looked the same as it did when the wandering star first got there. The wandering star and the people on it had seen a lot of things since then. So everything was really different now. Kathis was not looking at a planet with people who needed help anymore. He was looking at the home planet of the wandering star's friends, the people who were in charge of the galaxy and made all the big decisions. These people were very smart. They knew when to stop being in charge. The trip back to space is going to take a long time, months actually. During this time the delegation will work on their report. This report will be a deal. For Valkyrie history, it will change how the whole Valkyrie civilization thinks about itself in the universe. The delegation will tell the people the truth even if it hurts. Then they will start the task of building real relationships with the humans and all the other species who are just finding out the galaxy's biggest secret. The Valkyrie delegation will have a lot of work to do to make these partnerships work with humanity and the other species. Director Chen's last words to the people on the Wandering Star really stuck with Kathis. The Wandering Star was now moving fast. Director Chen had said that what makes people strong is not their computers or their old kingdom. It is that people can say when they are wrong. They can change what they are doing when they need to. They think it is more important to learn and get better than to be proud. If the Valkyrie can learn to do this, then maybe one day they will do something better than what people used to have. The Valkyrie will be wise just like Director Chen wanted the Valkyrie to be. The Valkyrie will have wisdom. The stars streaked past the viewport as the ship raced home. Behind them, Earth continued its eternal rotation, and humanity continued its patient work of building a better galaxy. The age of pretense was over. The age of truth had begun. And in the vast darkness of space, countless civilizations were about to discover that the greatest power in the galaxy belonged to a species that had learned to use power wisely by first learning to live without it.